All right. Pretty soon. Maybe.
Is it going live? Oh, it's circulating.
Yeah, it's still. Well, we're recording, but we're not live right now. Oh, there we go.
There we are.
Hey everyone, this is Jason from SiouxperConline. I am one of the cosplayer coordinators, and here
I'm
with
Christal. Hi.
And we have a guest here that was helping us judge our online cosplay, and his name's Thomas from Much Props. Thank you, Thomas, for enjoying with us.
And also being a judge, you did an awesome job. Super happy to have your help and your expertise on building, because you do some awesome jobs.
There were some really good cosplays in the event, so I was kind of humbled and happy to be a part of it.
You made our job so much easier with helping us and picking out and giving us the scores, and then allowing us to be able to, put it all together. So we do appreciate that.
The story that we have with you is last year I was looking up for something to build because we had a child that had brain cancer. He's cured, as he has nothing.
In remission.
Yeah, and we actually downloaded your template for the Cubo, and I made it, and everyone fell in love with it, But we use it as an auction off, a silent auction, to sit there and have
more like a raffle.
Yeah, like a raffle.
And then we drew a name, basically. So yeah, it was a raffle. And then, but the proceeds went to help pay for a calendar that was made to be sold for raising money for Derek. So it was really nice to be able to help out. But everybody loves that Cubone. We kept telling them where to find the plans if they wanted to try to make it themselves.
Yeah, so that got raffled off, and then I've been following your channel ever since then, and we actually took over the cosplay portion for SiouxperCon, and your name came right off the top of me. I was like, we need to get this guy in here because we deal with charities with Reach
Literacy and JY6.
JY6. So again, you being a teacher, we were like, hey, that suits very well.
It kind of fits perfectly.
Exactly. So,
exactly.
But then, the pandemic happened, and then we didn't know what was going to happen, if we were going to have a con or not. And then we got reached out from the board saying, hey, we're going to have it online. And we're like, well, that doesn't hurt to ask you. And you said yes, and we really, really appreciate that. So
I'm very familiar with Zoom meetings.
Know that you have them all the time.
Well, we actually went back to in person at the beginning of this school year, but pretty much from March until the end of school last year, it was a Zoom meeting pretty much every day. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, tell us about yourself.
Okay.
Our viewers.
My name is Thomas Hanna. My channel is Much Props. I kind of got my start at a pretty young age being creative. My mom was a big influence on taking things that most people would throw away and turn it into something. She was that woman that would collect paper towel rolls and stuff like that and do decoupage and all that kind of stuff. So at a young age, my mom kind of got me into crafting. My dad is an artist by trade. He does airbrush work and murals and things like that. So I was always kind of exposed to it. And of the three, I have an older brother and a younger brother. I'm the only one that kind of really got really big into the artistic side. Both my older brother and younger brother are super talented. My older brother's into music and things like that and can literally pick up any instrument and play it. And my little brother was in theater in high school and was a gifted performer and singer and all of those accolades that go with it. And I was kind of the athlete / artist, which is kind of a weird mix.
A good one.
Yeah. And then I guess I knew from 7th grade basically that I wanted to be a teacher. So everything that I did up until that point was to become one. So I graduated college at Texas A&M and started teaching at a little town in East Texas. And it's where I've been for the past 13 years now teaching. I guess about 5 years ago, I bought some thermoplastics online called polyplastics.
Mhm.
And I made a dragon claw key from Skyrim and shared it with them, sent them a picture of it, and they liked it. And the guy that was in charge was like, hey, could you make videos on YouTube for us? And that kind of got my foot in the door with YouTube. And I did videos for them for, I guess, about a year, and then kind of got tired of just using the same material every video. So I kind of started my own channel and did both for a while, and then slowly just transitioned to just doing much props. And I've been doing it for 3.5 years now, I think. Have over 340 videos, tutorials with loads of free templates and things like that for people to download and watch. And that's pretty much it. I married my junior high sweetheart. We've been together for 24 years. Been
Nice.
married.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Been married for 13, and she is what keeps me going and financially sound, trying to run a small business. And she's the accountant who keeps me in check when I want to go buy a bunch of stuff from Spirit Halloween or something. And that's about it. That's my life at the moment.
So you mentioned about you being a teacher. Is it just what grades? Is there a certain subject or?
I teach 7th and 8th graders, and that's all that's on my campus. We have I teach at a real small school. In Texas, it's called a 3A school, which my school that I teach at has about 200 kids in 7th and 8th grade total. And I teach technology applications, which back when I was in school, it was just called computers. We learn how to type on a keyboard and stuff like that. But I teach that, and I also teach art as well. So
Okay.
I kind of get a mix of both, so I'm not going stir crazy teaching the same thing over and over and over again.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
Do you ever take any of your builds in to show your students in art class and see if they'll do anything like that?
I have a really big classroom. I'm kind of lucky on my campus to have one of the biggest classrooms. And inside my class, there is a considerable amount of builds that most of them weren't builds that were for much props. It was ones I made before that. But like the Wally that I made out of cardboard, the Kakamora, like you've seen some of like the painting tutorials I did for them, but most of those were built in the classroom with the kids. It's a project that we do towards the end of the school year. But I've got an absurd amount of things in there for them to oogle over and get hyped about, because it's kind of like the end result that keeps them motivated to pay attention in class so they can do it at the end. So yeah,
That's
there's
awesome.
a lot of builds.
So I'm assuming they probably know that you have a channel. Do any of them like comment on the stuff that you do?
They do. Like, you would assume that having a teacher who's a YouTuber would be a big deal to 13 and 14-year-olds, but they're not extremely impressed. I have a couple that are kind of in the same interest as me, playing video games, and even some that may do cosplay type stuff that get really into it. But for the most part, I'm just another teacher at the school. I do have to wear a mask on campus, and every mask that I own is a Much Props one for my merch store. So
That's awesome.
I give shameless promotion every day, all day. So there's no way that they don't know.
We have a Tyler Hanna. He says, y'all are live. That's awesome. So you got some followers out there.
That would be my young brother.
Oh, nice. Well, hi, brother.
Probably half the people watching right now are probably family members. So
Oh, hey, family's your biggest support, which is
Yes.
awesome.
yeah,
Yes, they are.
trying to teach my mother how to get on a Zoom meeting was pretty interesting.
Your mom's watching too. She says hi.
Yeah,
Hi,
she just
Mother.
popped up.
That's awesome.
So thank you for, I mean, you do one thing that a lot of YouTubers that I watch, they do a little bit, but you do it all the time, is give out your templates.
Yes.
And to me, they're easy to follow. You know, I
Yeah.
don't think you need to change anything on them.
No.
For example,
Yeah, they got those going. Yeah, those look
yes. So, yeah, we want to thank you for that. And I'm sure a lot of people probably thank you for that as well.
When the pandemic happened, the first Mortal Kombat mempo that I put out gained 150,000 views
That was one of them.
over like a 2-week period. So it was like that video just blew up, and then I was like, maybe I need to revisit this and make a better version of it. So
Yeah, I really like the version 2 one. They're a little bit more smaller.
Yeah. It's kind of deceiving to look at me on a screen and just assume that I'm an average sized person, but I'm fairly large. I'm 6'3", 250 pounds, so I'm pretty big. And my mom will probably attest to this, that my head was this size when I came out. So I have an extremely large head, and I have a lot of people that like complain about my templates being so big. And that's why I had to make a video. Yeah. That's why I had to make one of those videos to show you how to size it, because I kept getting pictures of people building it, which was awesome, but they were building it and then putting it on like a 5-year-old. And I'm like, this looks absurd. Come on now.
Yeah, I watched that, and that was really informative, because I've in the past have been using like pepper coil stuff from Armor Smith, and I've been using that to size things down, but I didn't know there was a program that you could do that with when you shared that, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
It's helped a lot.
I actually, when I started doing polyplastics, I met, like digitally met, Skylar Osler, who does Cosplay Apprentice. And that's whose website that the calculator thing is on. And we've become pretty good friends over the past year or two. And yeah, he showed me that a while back, and I'm like, I get questions all the time asking how to size it, and I don't know where to start, because I usually just build for myself.
Exactly.
And then whatever I sell, people who buy it have to know, hey, this is really big. So it was nice to be able to figure out proportionate wise how to filter it down. So I think it's helped a lot of people, because my size face versus like say my wife, who's a very small person, she's like that tiny child size mass that I made in a video. And I'm like, yeah, none of my builds would ever fit anybody.
Nice.
We have a one person who put up, so your mother-in-law, she's here. So hi, mom-in-law. Hi, mom.
Hi, Carol.
And we have a bipolar, sorry, mispronounce your name, but they said, love everything you do and really appreciate the templates are free. And I learned so much from you, from your builds. Thank you. So you do have a lot of fans out there.
Awesome.
We even got our cosplay director hooked on your videos.
Yeah.
Sweet.
He said he started watching you and you couldn't stop watching.
Yeah.
You make them a little bit more entertaining as well. So
I love watching all. I love watching other makers. Cosplay Apprentice is up there on my favorites list.
yes.
Bill Duran, Odin,
Yep.
Adam Savage from Tested. All of them are amazing makers.
You're describing my list.
And I don't get me wrong, I love watching their videos, and some of their videos can be 40 minutes long, and I'm glued to the TV the whole time.
Yep.
But I know that to reach a bigger audience, you kind of have to fill the lulls with something. And like the facts that I put on stuff, that was kind of one of those things that was just like the teacher in me trying to push out some history behind it, to kind of fill those lulls in the video. Some people really like that, and some people don't
Yeah.
like it. And I mean, the teacher in me is going to keep doing it because it's just something that I do on a daily basis, anyways. But I'm glad that people think it's entertaining at least a little bit.
No, I think you're doing great. I mean, I constantly see your numbers go up when I watch your videos. So I think what you're doing is you're doing it good. So
they're growing. It took a while to get it going.
yes,
It was about 7 or 8 months before I hit 1,000, and like that was the most discouraging, horrible thing to be checking it every day and it's just going nowhere. But then once it hit 1,000, it started to snowball, and within a few months it was at 5,000. Another couple months it was 10, and then periodically it jumps several thousand. Like during the virus outbreak stuff, it was gaining at least 100 or 200 a day.
Nice.
And that's like, that was insane to me.
right.
But yeah, I got all my stats over here pulled up so I can refer to it if I need to, but
No, you're good.
that's why I keep looking over here. I got another screen that I'm looking at.
No, you're
You're
good.
fine.
Your mom says you're an all-around awesome young man and you're a role model to your students. If I had you at a t-shirt, I'd be impressed.
She may be a little biased.
Hey, it's not a bad thing. Moms are biased.
Thanks, Mom.
I used to see him watch your videos, and I'm like, what are you watching? You're watching him again? He's like, yeah, but check this out. And I went to work one day and came home. He's like, check it out. I made Cubone's mask. I'm like, oh, that is cool. That was awesome. Yeah, your videos, he watches them, and then he's like, hey, check this out. And then I start watching them. It's addictive.
Awesome. That's good to hear. It's happened gradually, and it's kind of been like, it's weird. Like having somebody that you watch comment on a video. Like I made a drift mask from Fortnite over a year or two ago now, and Bill from Punished Props commented on one of my videos, and I'm like,
nice.
That's awesome.
Then a few months ago, I got a friend, I got a following from Tested, and I'm like, what? And then the next day they posted the video of the hands mask that I made.
That's
and
awesome.
I just started screaming across the entire house, and my wife's like, what's going on? What's going on? I'm like, I'm fanboying out over here. I'm fanboying out. She's like, what's going on? I said, Tested just followed me on Twitter. And she's like, what? I said, yeah. So
that's awesome.
I got pretty pumped. And then recently I did an interview with Plaid Effects in June, a live deal. And I got to kind of talk with Odin and Evil Ted and a couple of other really awesome makers. And since then, I've had a couple of them liking some of the stuff that I posted. It's like getting all excited every time I see a like from them.
Nice. That's really cool.
That's awesome. You're getting out there and people are recognizing you and your talents.
Me and my wife went to Puerto Rico 2 years ago now, I think. And we were on the plane, and there was this teenage girl that was sitting across from us in the other aisle that kept just looking over. Okay. So we get off and we go to our hotel, and I finally get Wi-Fi so I can get on my phone and check stuff. And there was a message on the latest video, were you on a plane today? And I was like, yes, I was. And she's like, I sat right beside you. I didn't want to say anything. It's like, I wish you would have.
Yeah.
It's like I was sitting next to your mom and I talked to her the whole time. So
Nice.
but that's the only time that I've ever been recognized out in public for anything other than just being a 6'3" goofy looking guy. But it was kind of funny to have somebody know who I was without actually knowing me, because at the moment, the only people that I run into that know much props are people that I know. either taught or, are blood related to me, like half of what's in the chat right now.
So what type of advice would you give someone that's trying to start their own YouTube channel, such as what you do?
That's a good question. Watch a lot of whatever type of video it is you're trying to make. If you're trying to make a how-to video, find as many people out there that are successful at it and watch them. See what they do right, see what they do wrong, see the things that you would like to add to it to bring your own twist. And don't get discouraged. You're going to put stuff out there and people are just they're either going to be on board and digging what you do, or you're going to have trolls that are going to try and say negative things just because that's the type of person they are. And the hardest advice I can give about that is to just ignore them. I mean, it doesn't stop the longer you do it. You only get more trolls as you go. And I've had some pretty hateful, horrible things said in comments, attacking me personally as a person. And I'm giving out free entertainment, free templates, and you just have to realize that some people are out there just to be hateful. There's nothing you can do about that. Just focus on you. And if it's something that you enjoy doing, then who cares what anybody else really thinks? Because, I mean, I like that other people enjoy what I do, but even if the video wasn't recording, I'd still be doing these things. I was doing these things for years before I started a YouTube channel. And it's a great way to relieve stress. It's a great way to build self-esteem. And just getting honest feedback is probably the most beneficial thing that I've got from it, because like the chat looks over there on my screen. I get good feedback from mom and brothers and my wife, but they're a little biased. So getting that feedback from somebody who doesn't have a Christmas present connection to me is kind of a nice thing to have. So that would be the advice I would give. Just do what you love and learn from your mistakes. And don't be afraid of tweaking it here and there, but staying true to who you are.
Yeah, and you're not going to please everyone. There's always going to be free will. You're not going to be able to change it. So, so you build, like, during the summertime, it was like 3 a week. And now you're down to 1 a week. What do you do with all the things that you build?
There's a room right behind this one. My man cave. It used to be a family room, but I walled it off last summer. And it is literally just shelf after shelf of things stacked on top of each other for the most part. But I do have an Etsy shop, and I've sold quite a bit of it. I think as of today, I've sold maybe like 175 of the props that I made on the channel. So, I mean, a lot of them do get sold, but there's a lot of them that don't even get put up on because I build them and I'm like, I don't want to part with this. It's going to stay here. So eventually I'm going to have to get a bigger room over there because it's crowding up pretty fast.
So do you build duplicates to sell on there, or do you sell just the one that you're making?
It's one and done. I don't want to mass produce things because then you fall into that. Well, now I'm kind of making copyrighted things that I don't have licenses to. And I've had cease and desist orders on my Etsy shop from mostly from Fortnite, from Epic Games. I've had several cease and desists on some of the props that I've made, and it's just like, I'm making one-offs. It's not like I'm making a huge profit off of it. It's not like they produce that item in stores anyways. So I'm literally just trying to sell it so I can walk in that room still. Yeah. And keep the funding going so that my wife accountant doesn't come down and say I can't spend any more money.
How do you come up with your patterns?
I make them. Every bit of them I make by hand. I started watching Dalai Lomo when I first kind of got into YouTube, and he's a maker who does primarily out of cardboard. And he's one of those guys that, like you were talking about, that offers his templates up for free. So getting into it, I was like, oh, this is so great. But the problem was he's a small guy and I'm a large guy. So every time I build something, it'd always be too small. So I had to figure out, well, how do you make a template? So I started watching guys like Evil Ted who walk you through the process of how they do it and have been doing it in the movies for decades, and quickly kind of figured it out. It's not as difficult as you think it is. You basically, I take a mannequin head. I'm pointing to it like you can see it. There's a mannequin head.
We can see it.
We can see it.
I take a mannequin head and bulk it up with foil. And then when I get the shape that I want, I cover it in a plastic bag, a Walmart sack or something like that, and then duct tape that. And then I draw cut lines where I know. It took me a while to get used to that, making cut lines for stuff, but just where the parts curve, making darts for it. And I did a video not too long ago about how I go about templating. There's 4 different ways that I basically do it, but it's not as difficult as it seems. But to look at an end result and then go, well, how did he do that? It's kind of intimidating, but it's just a process of lots of failures before you get to it. That's what people probably get discouraged on the most, is they do what I showed them and then they're like, well, this didn't work. Well, I didn't show you the 3 times that it didn't work for me and had to kind of trim off parts of it. Like I'm working on one right now from Fable, and I had to make some cuts on it after I'd already made the prop and after I'd already recorded it to fix it. So sometimes it's just a process of elimination or trial and error. And it becomes a lot easier. I try and break it down into simple shapes. And if I do that and then layer it, it's a lot simpler.
Yeah.
And I look for builds that are easier. I don't try and go super complicated.
Right.
At least at the beginning.
Yeah. I lost track of thought.
So Brandy says one of your greatest skills is to be able to freehand a prop. What type of props do you like to freehand the most?
I basically anything that is Fallout related. I can look at an object and go, okay, I know I can use a pill container, a coat hanger, and this, and I can make that shape. And that's kind of my favorite thing to do, is find random junk that I have. I know it doesn't look like it behind me because there's not any, you can't see the shelves that are around the room, the shelves that are around the entire room. There's one up above me here. I've got tons of containers everywhere with just random junk stored in it. My family is a big enabler of me being a hoarder. I have one of those storage containers outside, the like 5x7 storage containers, and it's just filled full of random plastic junk. And I pull from it and throw stuff together, and it kind of, my wife is constantly looking for things, thinking that I can make stuff out of it. So it's like she comes home with an empty container. Hey, could you use this? I'm like, throw it in the pile. But yeah,
so she's
I really enjoy
too.
those. She is. And partially because it doesn't cost any money. So that's the accountant in her trying to give free materials. Yeah. Applesauce. Yeah. Who knew applesauce lids were so awesome to use?
That's awesome.
So you do 1 build per week because you're doing the teaching and it's taking a lot of your time now.
Yeah.
Does it take you literally 1 week to make your props, or?
I'm usually, like, for the first 3 years of my channel, I made 2 videos a week for 3 years straight. And that was a grind. It was, I'd get home from working 45 hours at school and then work 60 hours on my channel. So I'm working over 100 hours a week. Literally from the time I get up to the time I go to bed, I'm just on the go. And my wife has been trying to get me to stop doing that for a while because I'd stay up late nights to get stuff done. And with all the COVID stuff going on and the way that school has kind of changed in terms of the demands that I have now, because I'm not only teaching kids in my class, but also online kids and making myself accessible to them for when parents are home and all that stuff. It makes it a lot more difficult to carry that build schedule. But I can knock out it, depending on how complicated the prop is, I can build it within a day, or some of them may take a little bit longer, like the saw builds that I made. I'm trying to think of the Venus flytrap one that had the moving mechanism that came up. Like that took me a week to put together because I'm literally trying to figure out moving parts, and I'm not mechanically inclined by any stretch of the means. It's just I can stick stuff together to make it look like it. So usually I'm about a build or two ahead of schedule. At least I am right now, since I kind of cut back my workload. I've got I've got 3 builds that are in some form right now. One of them just needs finish painting. Another one needs primer layers and all that. And then the one I'm working on this weekend is just straight up in pieces at the moment, trying to figure out a template for it. And then
so
I've
you
got
do multiple builds and you just have them in different stages.
Yeah, I usually have at least 4 or 5 builds going at one time.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And it's not really like I'm trying to use my time as wisely as possible. It's more like I start building something and I kind of lose interest on it and just kind of push it over to the side. And then when it comes crunch time, I need a video this week. I'm like, oh, I got this one halfway done. I'll do that one. And then there are a couple of them that sit in drawers unfinished for months and months until I finally decide to do something with them. So yeah, I usually have quite a few builds going at one time.
So doing so many builds, do you ever get burnt out?
I would say that with anything like that, trying to be creative all the time, you would eventually get burnt out. But because I do YouTube and because I have a decent sized following, it keeps me pretty motivated. But at the same time, I do get tired of doing it. So I haven't reached a point where I've been completely burnt out, but definitely the get emotional or something. The video that I made where I talked about going down to 1 video a day.
Yeah.
I was at a point where I was ready to just stop because it wasn't as fun anymore, because it was literally every waking moment I had was spoken for.
Right.
And I was losing sleep. I was eating junk food instead of eating properly, not exercising, all that stuff. And it just got to a point where it kind of was either, crap or get off the pot. And I finally just said, hey, let's just cut it back just a little bit. But I stay pretty inspired. I mean, watching other YouTubers that I follow make stuff, it keeps me motivated. Comments, suggestions in my comments on videos keeps me a full list of builds, so I never run out of ideas.
That's good.
And then, I've got all kinds of crazy ideas in my head that eventually get put down into something, mashing weird things up or taking things that already exist and doing something weird with them. So I don't ever lose motivation.
That's good.
Do you use any of your builds for like Halloween or props for Halloween or?
I am by definition an introvert. I'm not a big fan of huge crowds, which is usually surprising to people when I tell them that, because I was a coach for 8 years. I teach at a junior high, so I'm around lots of kids. But I don't like big crowds. I go into a movie theater, and if somebody sits within a row of me, I get anxious. And
Tell us about your brother's wedding.
So I do use costumes from time to time.
Which one?
All right, I'll tell you. My little brother had a Halloween wedding.
Oh, sweet.
Okay.
That sounds fun.
And in order for you to attend his wedding, you had to be in costume.
Nice.
So at the time, I was doing a lot of Fortnite builds because that's what was getting all the views. And I just finished making my Ragnarok cosplay. And the only thing that I hadn't built on it was like the chest deal. So I asked him, I was like, would it be okay if I wore this obnoxiously huge costume to your wedding? He's like, yeah, wear it. It's like, okay. So I wore the armor and the helmet, but then I had a slacks on and a tie and a vest. So like, it was like the Fortnite character was going to a wedding dressing up.
Nice.
But, so yeah, I was definitely the a bit overdressed for the occasion by most other people's standards at the event.
But that's awesome.
Yeah, and it was super hot and raining, and I probably lost 5 pounds in sweat standing in full costume for my brother. Love you,
That'll
bro.
do it.
He said it was a good time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Him and his wife dressed up as the Addams Family.
Oh,
So
awesome.
Morticia, and yeah, so it was pretty awesome. It was a cool wedding. Definitely the funnest wedding I've ever been to.
nice.
But not besides ours, hun. Besides ours.
Nice cover.
on a beach in Hawaii, you can't beat that one.
No.
That's awesome.
So is there anything that you would like to, like, I mean, you named a few YouTubers that you look at, but is there anyone else that kind of inspired you and motivates you that you want to do a shout out for?
I mean, the big names are obvious off the top of your head, like Evil Ted and Bill Duran. There's a guy who's here in Texas that I watched quite a bit and is pretty inspirational named Zing Prod. He makes a lot of superhero costumes and stuff like that. He's a little bit bigger channel than I am, but he's super amazing. If you've never seen him, it's XIENG and then PROD, Prod.
Okay.
I watch a lot of random stuff to get inspiration. So Nick Zametti, who's a wood turner in England, Jimmy DiResta, who's an overall just amazing maker. Maker in Basement. He's a young guy from Canada. I've met him through Cosplay Apprentice. He goes to some of the live streams. I don't want to forget somebody that I actually talked to.
No, you're fine. I was just...
There's a lot of people that I watch that have nothing to do with EVA foam or cosplay that I get inspiration from all the time.
Oh yeah, you can take something from a completely different category and bring it over to what your skill level or what you want to make.
I was a tennis coach for 4 years and never thought that being a tennis coach would help me make props, but it did. Like learning how to wrap a racket properly. Now I can wrap handles on weapons properly. So I was a cabinet maker during high school. My uncle owns a cabinet shop. So my job was originally to sweep sawdust off the floor all day, but then they taught me how to read a measuring tape and how to use power tools. And by the time I stopped working there, I was going on installs and putting them into houses. And so I learned a lot of building skills from carpentry. Watching my stepdad, Rodney Patterson, that fool could build a house out of just a hammer and his own sweat. He's pretty awesome. He taught me a lot of building skills that I could then use to apply to this. So it's been kind of awesome.
That's awesome.
So watching your videos, your camera is kind of like, is it above your head? I mean, where do you put the...
I can show you. I'll show you.
You can make something from nothing. Nice.
This is the thing. Slots in right here. Articulating arm. And then my camera mounts to that. When I first started, it was like trying to put a tripod over my shoulder and get a
That's
good
what
angle.
I thought you were using.
Yeah. But the first few videos that I put on, that's pretty much it. So like the old videos you see where there's like a yellow wall behind me,
Yes.
that's how I recorded.
Okay.
But then I got one of those, and I can pull it to where it's literally just hovering right above my head, which is kind of awkward when you're trying to build something. That's why half my videos have my head like cutting into the screen half the time.
Right.
Because I like to see my screen. It's got my camera has one of those screens that flips out and flips down.
Yep.
So like I can see it, but I have to look directly above me to see it.
Right.
So there's a lot of times where I get my big head in the frame, and I end up having to cut out part of a video because you can't see anything but my hair. So
Gotcha.
We have another comment from, I'm going to mispronounce it and I'm sorry, but DePello. He said, speaking of Fortnite, Beef Boss was his first build from yours for his son for Halloween. It was awesome to find the tutorial. You saved me.
I pleased a lot of parents that year with Fortnite builds, even though I don't play Fortnite.
Yeah, I don't. My son, yeah, Dad, play with me. No.
When it first started, I tried to get in and play it, and I'd walk around for 15 minutes and not see anybody, and then get sniped out of nowhere, and I was like, this isn't fun.
No.
I've probably played 4 times and never got a kill, so I mean, I don't have to play a game and like it to be able to build from it and appreciate the art that goes into it. But yeah, I made the year that he's talking about, the Beef Boss, I made one Fortnite build a week for a solid year.
Wow.
And it was all, most of their stuff is just ridiculously detailed, huge character heads, and it kept me pretty busy. I still got a lot of pickaxes in the room over there that nobody wants to buy because they're super ridiculous expensive to ship them to people. So
yeah,
Definitely.
got that.
Let's see. Tyler says, you probably like the Call of Duty Modern Warfare one. It was easy to see people and you could get a respawn if you could win 1 versus 1 against someone else who died.
Spawn camping, yeah. Those were much funner days.
Right?
Definitely.
So you mentioned on your YouTube that there's some video games that you play that kind of help you out. And Fallout's one is one of your greatest ones you like. I love Fallout myself. Never finished any of them, but I love playing them.
For shame.
I get into the building part of it, and I can't stop doing it. I love building. I always play games that like to build, Subnautica, Space Engineers, and now the mechanic one I've been playing too. Yeah. So which ones do you play? Or do you get time to play them anymore?
I don't really get to play a lot of video games, but I kind of have classic ones that I go back to a lot, and Fallout, anything Fallout's pretty much at the top of my list. Elder Scrolls, Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, The Witcher. Yes. I like games that take 100 hours to beat, and there's ridiculous side quests and big open world stuff that I don't have to just stick to a storyline the whole time, because I like to go explore and look at stuff and get ideas from, like, playing Skyrim and going, oh, this is so cool, and everybody's all build a full cosplay armor set, and I'm like, no, I want to build this little junk thing that everybody just discards as soon as they get it in their inventory.
So your wife plays more than you.
Yeah, she does. When I was in college, we were big into Halo, and that's how I kept in touch with my little brother. As I was off at college, we'd get on at night and play back and forth. But yeah, I would say she probably plays a little bit more than I do, but we don't play the shoot 'em up, fight 'em games anymore. It's more like puzzle, mind game type stuff. But yeah, she's been into, I forget the game that she's been playing. My little brother got her hooked on it, but it's like some kind of puzzle game where you get a limit. It's kind of like, did he say what it was?
Yeah. She's hooked on Pie-Cross.
I don't know what it is, but she thinks it's amazing. It's kind of like a Minesweep game almost. You're guessing which boxes should be colored or not colored. I don't get it, but
Yeah, she likes playing those phone games.
yeah. I have a couple of those, but I don't get to play them very often.
I get bored of them.
Yeah.
That's where the building comes in at.
Yeah.
So do you have an idea of what your next build's going to be, or do you have anything that you can share to get people interested?
I have one build that's almost complete, but I can't share it yet because it is a collaboration I'm doing with somebody.
Okay.
They're doing a Kickstarter for something that they're going to try and sell.
Okay.
This person has been on tested before, and he sent me the product to use in a build, so I've got it all built and done. It's literally right there. But
Can you give us his name?
Ben Eady.
Ben Eady. Okay.
Ben Eady. He made the foam chainmail. I've used it in a couple of builds. He's making something else he's going to do a Kickstarter for here pretty soon. So I've got that already built. I've got a couple of castings from PR Props, who's an awesome artist that sells on Etsy that I've kind of become friends with, that's sitting over there waiting to be painted and modded. But the thing that I'm working on now, I'll share it with you.
Sweet.
Let me, I got it outside. Let me grab it real quick.
Okay.
Oh, well, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize you were female. So sorry. But awesome job. Love to hear that females are building out there. I love to build. Jason, he got me into it, and I built Master Chief. So I'm with you on there.
It's in
I'd love to see your
pieces.
work. Post it for us.
But this will probably be Friday's build. I'll show you the parts of it and see if you can figure out what it is.
Okay.
So this is the handle. It's got a nice little wood texture on it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the weapon part. So this connects to this.
Right.
Oh, wow.
It's from an old school, it's from an old school game.
An old school game.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's a role-playing game.
Yeah.
It doesn't take very long to beat it either. I think I could beat it in like 6 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, my little brother knows what it is because we talked about it. Yes, we talked about it yesterday. Yeah.
Nice.
It is the frying pan weapon from Fable.
I
Oh.
don't think I played that one.
Oh, for
I've seen
shame.
I got 2 for 2, right?
Yeah. It's one of those weapons, it's like, it's so absurd that I had to make it. I was asking my older brother and younger brother for ideas for something from Fable because we're all big fans of it.
Okay.
And I kind of had that one in mind. And after I mentioned it to both of them, they're like, yeah, you got to do that one.
How did you do the face? Because that's pretty cool.
It is the foam clay. So like I made the pan out of just EVA and then put foil down in the raised area so that I didn't have to use as much material. And then you just push it on. It's like sculpting clay, but when it dries, it's EVA.
Tubs of it.
The
Foam clay.
yeah,
I got
Yeah.
2
we've got
grays
some
and
of
1
that.
white.
Yep, that's right.
You know,
Mine
I
is-
think that game was the one you told our son couldn't play years ago.
I think you're right.
It
because
may
he
be a
was
little
too young.
inappropriate.
He was too young at that time.
Yeah.
They had a couple versions, right? They didn't just.
Yeah,
it was
I think there was three. I think it went to Fable 3, and then the fourth one was like a remodel or something like that.
Okay.
I'm sure my little brother will tell me because he's.
Yeah, that was the one that our son couldn't play, so he didn't play
Yeah.
because our son was all about it.
There are some things in there that are highly inappropriate for a child to be playing. Yeah.
Very much.
Yes. When you first showed it, right now, for some reason, the first thing that popped in my head was Hitchhiker's Guide of the Galaxy when they're walking and don't make a flop, you know?
Yeah. Like I've got to carve out a little bit on the back so that it's obvious that this is a frying pan that's been smacked onto somebody's face.
Nice. Yeah, I actually used some of that on this mask right up in this area. I used some of that foam clay to use it as a, instead of dribbling the curve, I actually use that foam clay to kind of use it as a putty. So that worked pretty good for that.
It works really good as like a gap filler too.
Yes.
If your seams aren't really good, you can get it a little wet and rub it in there and it stays on there. The kind I'm using is FOMO from Cosplay Apprentice.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got ours from like a local hobby
Crafting store. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure if we can say the name on here. But.
I've got like 4 different kinds that I have. Like I have a closet right here next to me, and it's like filled with EVA foam from everybody who sells EVA foam
Nice.
from. So
Yeah, we saw that FX, or is it FX or the
Plaid
paints?
Effects.
Yeah,
Plaid
they
Effects.
sent you for you to try out, and Cosplay Apprentice sent you the stuff. Have anyone else gave you stuff to try out?
I've recently been getting things from companies, which is kind of an awesome thing to have, getting free stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, I started out on YouTube getting free stuff from Polyplastic, getting thermoplastics, but I don't get that for free anymore because I don't make for their channel.
Right.
But Plaid has been sending me things recently. Cosplay Apprentice has been sending me his foam, which is kind of like a mix between EVA and Worbla. It's a real
Okay.
if you've ever used a high density foam, like I know SKS has a high density foam.
Yeah, I worked with this stuff.
His is a lot denser than that. Like it's almost like this.
TNT.
Yeah, it more dense than any of that. It's like
Oh wow.
I can make a sword blade and not have to put a support rod in it. Like it's that sturdy.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
So he sent me foam. Plaid sent me paint. I recently did my first sponsored video from Cos Tools, which is a division of Logan Graphics Tool. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, but they make matte cutting for artwork.
Yes.
Is what they're known for. If you go into any hobby store, they've got their cutting tools and stuff in it. They just got into doing cosplay, and Cos Tools has sent me some of their tools to use. I did 2 videos using it. That sci-fi barrel that I use for my EVA storage was using their tools, and then the Skyrim dungeon chest. And they've sent me a couple of free tools, and I got paid to do the dungeon chest video. So I actually got money directly from a company, which was
Sweet.
nice. Yeah.
Nice.
I've had other offers from other places, but you'd be surprised the sketchiness that comes out when your channel gets over a certain size. So I'm pretty selective in the things that I pick, and I try and pick things that I've used before or that I believe in as a product. And
Yeah.
I've had several companies that have tried to send me things, and I'm like, please don't. I'm not gonna support that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a YouTuber that I watch. He actually took a big step backwards because he fell in that trap.
Yeah.
All his stuff he was using and all this, I mean, it was like 30 minutes and he was like sponsoring someone. And his reviews and stuff started dropping. And
You're selling out. You're selling out.
Exactly. So he took a step back and realized that something was messing up. So yeah.
Shut up, Tyler.
So yeah, I'm glad you're being mindful about that.
I've had a couple of video game companies reach out to me, and I'm not going to say any names, but I tried to play them and didn't like the gameplay of it. And it's like, no, I'm not going to do that.
I probably know at least one of them, because it's on every YouTube channel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Not to throw shade at people who have accepted their offer.
No.
By all means, go for it.
No, I mean, it's our time is kind of almost, we got
got
5
5
minutes
minutes,
left.
yep. So is there anything that you want to sit there and let the viewers know that you do or that you're interested in?
I mean, everything that I do is pretty much what I'm into. I mean, I share a ridiculous amount of stuff each week. One of the things that I will say that I wish more people would do is, if you build something, tag me in it. Like, you don't know how many times I've gone onto some of the group feeds and posts, and I can see my build, and it's obvious that they've used a template of mine, but then my name is nowhere mentioned in the post, and it's like, sad face, went. But it's like, I only found that post by circumstance, just going to some of those groups, and I'd love for more people to tag me and stuff so I can see it, because that is my motivation for spending an extra 3-4 hours putting together a template so that other people can make it. So definitely tag me in a post if you decide to make something, because I'd like to see it. I get super motivated from it. I had somebody the other day tell me that they were building stuff from my video as they were going through chemo. I was just like, what? Wow. It's like, it said that helped them get through that time. And I was like, I wouldn't have expected something like that for me, showing how to make a prop, or a dad telling me that it brought him and his kid closer together because they started making together. Like, that stuff makes my day, and that keeps me motivated for a lot longer than somebody going and sharing a video.
Right.
No, that's really good
awesome
to hear. I mean, for example, a few years ago, me and her, our daughter made Halo costumes, and we came to SiouxperCon, and that's how we found SiouxperCon.
Yeah.
And we won Best in Show that time, and now we're actually running it, or not the whole SiouxperCon,
not the
cosplay
the cosplay part. Yeah, I got you.
And I sent a shout out to the guy that I got the template from, and it was heartwarming for me as he came back and said, hey, you know, he was super excited that I got something from him, and we won because of what templates we got from him. And so I think it goes both ways. I mean, being as a builder, you probably love hearing the feedback, and as someone like me that's looking for a builder, you know, or we like the feedback as well. So
I saw one of my builds on MSN on one of their best cosplays of Comic-Con. It was like, my older brother sent me a message, I think somebody just won some contest with your build. I was like, what? And I looked at it and I was like, no, that is my build. Like, they bought it from me.
Oh no.
Oh wow.
And
That's
it was
not good.
It was an Epic employee. An Epic employee had bought 2 masks for me and then won some cosplay contest, and they made it on an article. It's like, that's pretty awesome, but my name wasn't mentioned anywhere in that.
No. Yeah, it's at least we're seeing it on the inside of it, and it's about honesty, and it's hard to see if someone actually built it or if they actually had someone, you know, like that, for example, bought it from you and went in and won, you know, great, but I like seeing people's work, you know, so.
That's like all the videos and emails that we sent you with the pictures, and then, you know, looking at their build, then some of them did the sewing, some did the actual building, and there was some phenomenal builds.
There was.
It was just crazy on the foam work that went into it and those intricate details, and being able to see somebody take that and build it and then claim it as their own. We want to make sure we give those proper shout outs. And like when we did last year when we did the Cubone mask,
Oh, yeah.
we did do a little shout out saying, hey, we got this from Much Props. If you want that template, you can go ahead and go on and download that. Just give them a shout out when you're done. That way everybody knows where we got it from, because we don't need to take credit for something that's not ours.
Well,
Definitely.
by all means, I'm not trying to take credit for you building something on your own. I just want people to know, hey, there's a place you can go and get the template for free and learn how to make it.
Yeah, and that's what we did. You know, and
yeah.
Of course, they want me to build them one. I'm like,
no, we did
the second you show your friends you can build, that's all you're going to be doing.
Right.
oh yeah, I've helped some people with some builds. A friend wanted a what was it? Ironman Mark II, and I helped him build a Mark II Halo suit.
And also
so
did
I know
couple
exactly how
Punisher.
that feels. Yeah,
Punisher vests and just a few others. But yeah.
Well, one last thing I want to let you know is me as someone that looks at you in a YouTube channel. I mean, there's one thing that I like that you do different than others is you do more content than others. Yours, I look forward watching you. Like, oh, what I'm going to watch this week, you know? Oh, I got Much Props is going to be on there, you know? So, and I appreciate that. Exactly. And you know, I think that's really cool. You know, I don't want you to get burnt out on it, but you know,
it's something you enjoy doing. It's not work.
Exactly.
Definitely.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
You know, some of the ones that you named off, some of them go off for once a month now. Yeah. You know, so I know times is kind of hard right now, but you know, just want to let you know that we appreciate what you do.
Definitely.
Some of those could be they're getting famous and have non-disclosures that they can't mention to you.
Yeah.
I know SKS and Punish Props have that a lot. Where they have builds that they want to share but they can't because there's legal issues and ramifications from it.
Yeah, I actually was talking with the SKS Props. He was willing to do like what we're doing, but since you were
a judge,
you raised your hand up to help us out, you know. So I was like, hey, give you the opportunity. So, and we thank you for that.
Big thank you. You helped us do our job.
I appreciate being included in it, and it's an honor, and it's crazy to see that just my regular life is taking off and going into new things that I didn't think it would do. I wasn't going into it.
Up here in South Dakota, we see you, we watch you. You're getting out everywhere, which is awesome.
Or being spotted on a plane going to Puerto Rico.
That's
there
right.
You go, exactly.
Well, it was awesome talking with you. We do appreciate you taking the time and helping us with SiouxperCon and the judging and also doing this live feed. Our hour's up. Is there any last minute thing you want to say?
Thank you, family members, for joining in on the chat.
Thank you, family. It's great.
Everybody else who is watching.
Well,
it's an honor to be here, and I all the support that I get from everybody is just it takes me back every time I read.
You got to do your famous YouTube closeout.
Inevitably, they're going to ask you how you made that. You can give them one of these. Tell them Much Props.
There you go. Thank you very much, Thomas.
Have a great day, Thomas.
You too.
Bye.
Got to get back to work now.
Well, everyone, if you were in tune with us, we were watching Thomas from Much Props, and we got more to come after this with the SiouxperConline, and we thank you for
taking your time to see with us and watching the videos. You all have a great night.
Bye, guys.